All right. Um, so we can go ahead and get started. We'll probably have some more students trickle in. But hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the networking workshop presentation with Marcum. We have Nathan with us here to give us some tips on networking. So Nathan, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Great. So, I mean, this morning, the networking event was a great warm up for today's presentation for those of you who participated. We're going to start off with just a quick introduction from myself, and that also goes into networking, and we'll follow that up after my intro. So I was born in Southern California, and I moved about 30 times over the course of my life. Georgia, North Carolina, Iowa, Virginia, back to California, Rhode Island, Belgium, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, San Francisco, Hawaii, Honduras, Portugal, back to Virginia, California, and now I was out in the desert, now I'm here. So lots of moving, lots of addresses. And why do I say this? Well, every time you move, you need to meet people. And so when we're talking about networking, we're talking about meeting people and how we're going to use these people to help us further our life goals, whether those life goals are monetary, whether those life goals are getting a job, which is also monetary, or we're talking about just having friends, having companionship, forming relationships. And so I was able to use those life lessons of how to network as a kid to then transfer them to skills in networking as an adult. And they kind of help you learn, you know, the purpose of networking, right? So why are we all here today? We're all here today to either take part in a networking event where we learn from a professional, stuff about them, whether it's their job, how to network, why they network, stuff like that. Or we're trying to network with our fellow accounting association peers, right? So hanging out, typically this would be run in person to person, where we can have coffee and donuts and hang out together, learn a little more about each other. Now, so why did I start with a self story? So I started with a self story because you don't know who I am. And if you don't know who I am, then you can't trust me. Now you can go off of social cues and to establish trust in the sense of, you can say he looks professional, he's got a collared shirt on, he combed his hair this morning, so he really looks like he should be here. He looks professional, therefore I can trust him as a professional. But when you're talking about networking, right, you got to start at that level of trust. Now, how do you build that trust? You find commonalities, right? That leads you to trusting somebody more, right? So I give you my backstory so that each one of you can hear my story and relate in a way, whether you're moving. I too went to CSUN. I got a master's in accountancy. So there's another commonality we have. Maybe I'll talk about my sports. I play softball on Saturdays. I snowboard in the winter. I like to run, train for marathons. There's some more key things that you guys can all use to develop a commonality with myself so that when you want to network, right, or create a relationship, we have that ability. You know where to start, basically. So what do you do to network? Anybody want to come off mute and give me some examples of how they network right now?
You just got to be out there.
Sure, I'll give it a try. Well, first, I meet them. I acknowledge, just that, hey, it's great to see you. Glad that we're in the same room or, kind of in the same mind space. We're, like we're linking, we're connecting, like, hey, our energies just met, match the energy. And even more than follow up with something like, oh, I noticed also, you said something about marathons. I freaking love marathons. I'm training for a marathon myself. I want to contribute to bring value to the conversation, build that value, and also try to then follow it with something about, like, to share something about yourself. So you're also saying that it's safe to let your guard down at the same time, because you're building a common value of a shared, within
A
that
give and
conversation.
take, right? It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Trust is built both ways. Trust is not a one-way street. Like, just because I trust you does not mean you trust me, right? So having mutual trust, for sure.
Yes, precisely. So similarly, like, for example, when Stuart gives you an introduction, like, sometimes you very well might meet someone in an elevator, and that will be the perfect time.
I mean, and it is a truth. I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten in my elevator at my office, go up, you ride with somebody you don't know, that's 5 seconds. What are you going to say to make an impression? That's a positive one, if any at all, right? You could also just, like, they have this little screen in the corner that has, like, current news that slides, and you can just stare at that and, like, completely ignore that there's another individual here with you. Or we can acknowledge each other's presence and existence, and that's it. I mean, that's all you really have time for. In an elevator pitch, I don't know what else to do in 5 seconds between acknowledge existences. What do you have, Joel?
Something that I always think about when it comes to networking or just in life in general, I always reflect back to the quote that Wayne Gretzky said, that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I think about that with life and school and work and everything. Just, if you're not putting the time to be out there, then what are you gaining at the end of the day? And it really comes about everything else. You just got to show that you're persistent, and you got to show that you're there, because that builds trust at the end of the day.
Yeah. And so to talk to some more about my networking journey and how I got to where I'm at now, using networking, we'll go back to my life, right? So I was in the Marine Corps for 15 years, lots of deployments and stuff like that. But eventually my career came to a close, and I had to find a new career. Now, I was immediately headhunted by a security corporation. I said, great, let's do that. And I went right back to work. I wasn't really networking at this time. They had found me on LinkedIn, and just having a profile can make you a target for, somebody who has a position that needs to be filled. So another reason to create a LinkedIn profile is that literally people will message you for a job all the time. And as you move through your career and your LinkedIn profile becomes more and more robust, more and more people will seek you out for employment. But basically, I was a security guard. I was a personal protector, close protection, bodyguard, whatever you want to call it. I didn't enjoy it. It was time for a change. So what did I do? I immediately go onto my LinkedIn and I send out a message to everybody. I need a job. You know how many people got back to me? None. Nobody wants to help somebody drowning. Like, you have to have something for yourself. You have to be able to put yourself in a positive light, so that people can assist you and they feel that their time is not wasted in assisting you, right? Because networking is not a one-way street, it's two ways, right? I'm here today to talk about networking, talk about how I use networking to make myself successful, right? At the same time, I'm looking, engaging all these individuals that are in here that want to participate in the conversation, or that are just simply here and send me a LinkedIn invite afterwards, right? I'm looking for individuals that are going to help me later on when I need an accountant, an auditor, a consultant, you know, whatever. When I have somebody I need, right? I have individuals here that will hopefully at some time reach out and we can be in touch. So I went to several networking events after being a security guard, right? I went down to the Kings and I went to a Kings game. That was for sports, careers in the sports field, right? You go there, you talk, you meet, you pass out business cards, you learn about different careers, different companies, different avenues of work. At the same time, you know, I'm having coffee chats with other people in other businesses, construction or operations or production companies. So there's a lot of different avenues that I was trying to get myself into and learn, but that's not the only networking I was doing, right? I was also playing softball on Saturdays. And some of you are like, wait, that's not networking, that's fun. But you have to think about it, right? Here I show up on Saturday, I play with 22 different individuals, right? Different backgrounds, different careers. Now as an accountant, right? What do I want as an accountant? Anybody have an idea?
Well, there's a good point that you also made, is that, you know, you have to be able to work with an accountant and have a trust and confidence relationship of some sort, building rapport, and
like
someone that you can communicate with.
As an accountant, what do you have access to? You have access to somebody's financials. You have access to like so much individual about their business, how they're doing, are they hiring, how are they paying their people? These are all things that you get, right? And as a CPA, you're supposed to be trusted. But as a CPA, you're trusted, right? All
Yes.
CPAs are, right? I mean, while we're learning about accounting, how many accountants do we learn about that were quite untrustworthy, right? Lots of,
Yeah, that's the CFAs,
yeah. So many people steal money.
CFEs, yeah.
It's ridiculous. And so our profession has to have an element of trust. You have to trust your CPA, right? Because of their access. Now, as a CPA, how are we going to gain that trust? Again, through commonalities, through learning about each other, etc. So what I'm getting at is, why do I want to have myself out there in all these different networks as an accountant? Well, I need clients, right? I didn't become an accountant to not make money. I didn't pay all this money to get my degrees to not make money, right? That's why we're here. That's why you guys are going to school, because you want a career. You want a career that's going to pay you well, right? You're not learning how to sweep better. Now, I'm not saying that like you can't be a great sweeper and have like a really good job sweeping, but you wanted to become an accountant to make money. And in order to make money, you need clients. And in order to get clients, you need friends. And in order to have friends, you need to network, right? So like there's this nice train that we got to follow, and eventually it's going to lead to friends. Now, later down the road, it's going to lead to clients. Now, you guys got business major friends, you have English major friends, like you don't need to talk to them so much because they'll probably become teachers. And they won't make a lot of money. But the business major people, you should talk to them and keep them in your pocket and keep them friends, so that later on down the road, like, again, remember, being an accountant is a long ball game, right? Nobody is going to just give you their financials day one when you say, I'm a CPA, let me do your work for you. They're not going to go, sure thing, here's all our stuff, let us know what you find. No, they're going to say, we already have an accountant, thanks though. Right? And so how do you break that that barrier. You break that barrier through networking, right? Becoming a friend, learning about commonalities, providing advice to them. Then later on, they turn around and they help you with your business. Now, backtracking, right? We're in college. What are we looking for right now? What are you guys all looking for right now? Somebody besides Dylan, come on, hook me up.
Internships and jobs.
Yeah,
experience.
we want internships. We want jobs. We want the inside track, right? We want it to be easier so that I don't have to work as hard, so I can work harder on other things. I know. I went to CSUN. For those of you who already did your research and found out that we had a speaker from Marcum and his name is X, I already had people come up on LinkedIn and check me out before this presentation, and I applaud you. Good job. I researched literally everybody and anybody I was going to come in contact with through my career, my job search, right? So I know Stuart. I was on every single Zoom with Stuart at the beginning of the year because, I mean, I had time. Classes were just getting going and I was participating. I want you to look at my resume, Stuart. I want to go to this thing. Well, I want to go to that thing. I want to go to everything, right? Networking. I want to get all my fingers in all the different pots out there so that if there's one that's going to help me, I'll be ready, right? I came to CSUN to get an accounting degree. I already knew what I wanted to do when I got there. So some of you are not, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of you are not, could possibly not be accounting majors yet, or do you need to be an accounting major to be in the Accounting Association?
You don't need to
Accept
be.
any major.
Yeah. So you got some people possibly that don't even know if they want to be an accountant yet, here trying to figure out what an accountant is, right? That's why they joined this network, to learn more about accounting, right? To be put in touch with individuals who have an idea of what accounting is. So that's why you're networking. We're all networking for different purposes and reasons. Again, I'm here networking to possibly fill seats later. You guys want internships and jobs, right? So you're going to meet professionals from these firms. You're going to send out a LinkedIn thank you for their presentation. Whether you liked it or not does not matter. You send them a message anyways. And I'm not saying this because I'm the presenter and I want to hear from all of you. I'm saying this because that's what I did when I was in your seat, when I was going to CSUN and I was part of the Accounting Association, right? After every single presentation, I'm instantly sending a message saying, thank you so much. I want to connect so that if I come in across a question later in the like I have your information and I can reach out to you, ask a question. And nobody says no. Everybody says yes, please, because they're here for the same reason I'm here now, is I want to know you because the future you could be very valuable to me. The future you could go private business and become a CFO. And 10 years down the road, I'm a partner for a CPA firm and you need help, you need an audit, you need an external audit, and I'm the guy, right? So boom, that's a lot of business. That's a business for me, and that's, you know, career progression for you. Positive, easy. My job at Marcum was very easy for me to get. I mean, so because of networking. Now, my networking is a little like non-standard. I had coffee with my cousin who said, okay, well, hopefully my daughter doesn't interrupt us too much. I apologize if she does. So I met my cousin for coffee. We talked about my future, and this was after the security guard job, right? So, you know, I'm a little lost and confused. I didn't know where to go. So he had said, hey, look, we need accountants. You should go be an accountant. And that was my in. That was like, what am I going to say? No, I'm not going to listen. So I listen, I take his advice. I didn't even become an accountant yet, because like, how are you going to be an accountant if you don't know what kind of accountant you're going to be? Does everybody in here know what type of accountant they want to be? Everybody wants to be audit, of course, or a consultant, everybody. Nobody wants to do tax because apparently it's boring and standard, although like, that's why I love it. 9 to 5, I'm good. No audits of company stock and inventory January 1st for me. All
Oh
right.
my gosh, I'm still like, yeah, I don't know why taxes has got such a bad rap. I mean,
I don't know either, but literally every meet the firm, every accounting student wants to be an auditor. I don't know what is so cool about them, about being an auditor, but
it must be trending or something.
it's trending. Yeah, except we still have open positions for auditors, so I don't get the deal.
I mean, I heard that like there's better exit opportunities for auditors. That's what I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, so for sure. I mean, you become more intimately involved in a business and how they run it, right? But I'll tell you that I spend 50% of my time billing on a client for fixing their books just when I do taxes, right? So I don't know. Push comes to shove, you become intimately involved in your sector of business, whether you're an auditor or you're in tax, just because you're doing all that work, because you're so intimately involved with their financials and you see how everything flows and what comes from where and where it goes. But back, so I got an internship at a small firm simply because my cousin called up a CPA and said he needs an internship. So I know absolutely no knowledge of accounting, no clue. I mean, I knew a 1040. That's it. I didn't know that there was like a bajillion other forms. I can't even tell you how many other forms there are. I still don't know them all. There are forms that I still don't know. But you know, you learn as you learn, they become easier, and it is pretty easy once you learn the forms. But I didn't know anything about accounting. And so I got an internship to learn, right? Rotating internship where I had 3 months with a small firm. I did some tax work. I did some audit work. And this was pre-pandemic. So I was able to like go into the office. I was able to go to the client site. I was able to learn from the representatives in the firm. And so it was nice. I was able to get my foot in the door of figuring out what accounting is just from having coffee with my cousin, because he knew a guy, right? That is networking. That is exactly what we want in your current, I guess, age of your career. You know, you want the foot in the door. You want to know the guy at Marcum. You want to know the girl at KPMG. You want to know what it's like at PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? You want to know these things because you don't want to make a bad decision. You don't want to say like, I'm going to go tax, and then you absolutely hate tax, or you don't want to go to audit and not realize that like everybody hates their auditor because you're auditing them. Like you're literally pulling out dirty laundry and showing it to them. Like, look, who did this? Like, this is bad. You shouldn't do this, right? And here's how you fix it. Well, actually, no, they don't do that part. The consultants do. You got to know what type of service line you want to go into in terms of what type of accountant you want to be. I knew that I wanted to be tax because I enjoyed my tax experience at the small firm, which was I got a client binder of source documents and I got put in a cubicle and I got told, go do a tax return. There was no buddy, there was no checklist. There was just a stack full of documents and a 1040 and a lot of schedules to figure out. And that's, I had to do that. And I just sat there and figured it out. And I enjoyed that treasure hunt of figuring out where this number goes, how it fits into this return, you know, and then this at the same time, you're trying to figure out how to save your client money or make them money or, you know, and then when you start getting into tax consulting, you look into like how to help them in the future, you know, tax laws, move your money here, tax laws change this depreciation, tax laws change. Right now we're doing different forms. We call it the CPA Employment Act, you know, it's all these different things. But how did I know I didn't want to do audit? Well, I did an audit and I learned that I didn't want to be the bad guy, right? I didn't want to have to go like, hey, I need all these documents. And they're like, well, they're not finished, or they're not ready, or they're not good, right? And you have to go, look, it doesn't matter. Like, I need to look at them and I need to justify your reporting, your financials. And so it's, that was the first step, was that small firm, right? Now I figure out I want to do tax. So time to get a master's in accountancy. So I go to CSUN, I get in touch with Stuart. I use his network, right? Because that's also what we're trying to do here. Networking is not only your network, but is other people's network as well, right? I'm sure Joel knows people that I don't know. 100% Joel Ramirez in my top left corner knows people that Nate Forsch does not know. 100% Henry knows people that Kyle doesn't know. And these are how these networks either can benefit or harm us, right? If I take Henry's network for granted and I don't try to use him, right, for maybe some up and coming classmates, maybe for some peers that are already in the professional world, right? Maybe I'm a student as well, right? And I want an internship, but I don't know where to go and I don't know what I want to do, right? But Kyle's got a friend that's 2 years older than him and they got an internship at EY, right? And an offer from that internship, right? Clearly, Kyle knows a guy that really likes EY. So maybe I should talk to him. But Ryan's got a network that is full of Big Four haters. They all follow the Big Four accountant on Instagram. They know how I was going to say several bad words there, but I'll stop myself. They talk about how much they hate their life there, right? At PwC is garbage, right? I have a friend that literally went to PwC work for 30 days and then quit. They were like, I can't do this. It's absolutely horrible, right? It is the worst place, she said, that she has ever worked. I have another friend that is a friend of that friend. We're all friends together. We went to CSUN. She started at PwC the exact same day and loves it. Greatest place she's ever worked in her life, right? So this is how it works, though. You know, there's an old saying that when I was in the Marine Corps, somebody used to say, and they would say, you know, show me a model and I'll show you somebody who's tired of being married to her. It's like, sure, right? It doesn't matter how good looking or how awesome the Big Four is, right? There's going to be somebody that has a bad experience and is not going to enjoy it. And you want to hear that story, right? We're all stupid if we don't go to Yelp and look at the 5-star review and then flip it and then go read the 1 stars, right? You got to have the counter. You got to know what the good and the bad are to know who's full of it. Because one of them's full of it. One of them had one bad experience because of an employee, or one of them had a great experience because, you know, they got a discount or whatever. You know, so you gotta look at that stuff. And again, through the networking, that's how you learn that. You learn about, you know, people's internship experiences, and I forget how long I have. How long am I going till again?
11:50, but if you have more to say, and I'm sure students might have some questions, we can go until 12.
Okay, real quick. I'll finish my networking story. That'll hook you guys up, okay? So basically, through the cousin with the coffee chat, I then get introduced to somebody at Marcum, right? I have a coffee chat with him. I come down, we have coffee at Marcum. He introduces me to the HR. HR says, give me your resume. Ta-da, I had a job. And that was through networking. And that was not through like trying to go to these, not through Meet the Firms, right? Meet the Firms is a great networking opportunity. I hope all of you go there. I'll also be at Meet the Firms and we can talk about you more. But I wasn't trying to fight for a seat at a Meet the Firms. because I networked. I went around, right? I went around the meet the firms. I went around the standard process of send in your resume review, have an interview, have another interview, have another interview, right? It's horrible. Every time you're like, man, I got to do this perfectly or else I won't get my job. But if you network and you network properly, you can go coffee, job, just like that. I had interviews, but it was like this. Yeah, did you see the game last night? Oh, it was perfect. It was not, hey, please tell me about 4 of the hardest times in your life. Like, we didn't have those talks. We talked about fun because they knew that I was already hired. So the interview process was just them getting to know me, was just us becoming more friendly. And that's, again, back to square one, where we started was networking is having friends and being beneficial to each other, right? So I'm here to help you become more professional in your career, how to network. Again, my name's Nate Forsch. I use networking to become successful in my career. I want to help you use networking to become successful in yours. Look me up, hit me up on LinkedIn, and then we'll talk about my contacts. Again, we'll roll through my contacts at KPMG, at Deloitte, at PwC, at EY. We'll talk about them. We'll see who you want to talk to. Who would you like to have a coffee chat with? I'll put you in touch with them. That's how we network, right? So again, I wish you all the best of luck. I really appreciate those of you who participated, came down here. It's not early anymore, but it was early at 9 o'clock and took part in today's event. And I wish you guys all the best and success at CSUN. I had a great time. I learned a lot, and I hope the best to all of you. I will now field any questions that you have for the rest of the time that I have, if I have any time. All right.
Okay, it's leaving too quiet, so
once.
I'm gonna follow up. So, okay, so freaking happy with the Super Bowl. I don't know. I got it. It's a 50-50 right there, but yeah, I mean, gosh, like I'm so thankful that we got to, meet, but also, talking about that is like having fun meeting, building friendships with colleagues is like it's such a crucial part. And it's like, yeah, totally. Like, I mean, that's the essence.
It takes practice. This takes practice. Figuring out how to work the two-way street takes practice. So like in Zoom is one way of doing it. And then doing it in person is completely different, right? Because literally all you guys are seeing is my shoulders up. What am I doing with my hands? If I have my hands and they're out here, like it's just completely different. So it's great to be in both places and to network.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the great thing was like, I mean, a great example is like, yeah, employee luncheons. Like when, some of the best times are had, sitting
at lunch
and just
at happy hour after work.
Yes.
All of that. Great places to network and get to know one another. Geez, learn more about each other. And again, figure out how to, help and influence each other.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Because you'll find out.
I got a question for you, Nate. Once you start, like, how do you keep networking, like, even within the firm or like outside the firm, because like you said, what if you start and then you completely hate it?
Totally. So I joined Cal CPA, was one of the things that I did. And that's because it's not just public accountants. Cal CPA is also private industry. So you're going to talk to people that do bookkeeping services, and that's their whole business. They have several bookkeepers. Or you'll talk to forensic accountants. You'll talk to auditors. You'll talk to people in different service lines, right? There's a big one in California right now is cannabis, because like nobody else has a cannabis service line. You know, you'll find, and the big four won't touch it with a big stick. So there's a lot of money there to talk about cannabis to these CPAs to figure out how they're getting around untaxable or they cannot deduct expenses at the federal level. So how are they getting around that? What are they doing? These are all things that you can learn to find out if it's like a different route to take, right? So there's a lot of different CPA organizations. There's other seminars like this that you can join that are built just to network. So you join a Cal CPA networking event and go to it. So they have in-person ones where you go to like Santa Monica Pier and there's a big event and you have coffee or drinks or beer. Whatever, however old you are, drink where you can do
Santa
whatever you
Monica's
gotta do.
great.
But also, like I was saying, I've been to like they also do them at the Dodgers where they do sports industry. And so like if you are interested in learning about the sports industry and being an accountant there, they bring in a bunch of professionals in the industry with the Dodgers or the Kings or the Rams. They bring these figures and they give a presentation like this. And then again, at the end, you have a chance to exchange business cards and stuff like that. I will tell you that if you're serious, I would have some business cards that you carry around with you in your business pocket, in your suit pocket or in your wallet or whatever, so that when you meet somebody in the elevator, over coffee, whatever, it's always super primo to be able to say, here's my card, you know, hit me up. I would love to chat more. Like, I would love to know more about your business, or I would love to know about any chances that I have to get my foot in the door or an internship or whatever. Like, nobody's gonna, you know, another thing that I was always told is that closed mouths don't get fed. So if you're quiet and you don't ask questions, you're not going to get what you want. Hopefully that answered your question, Henry. You stay active in all the professional societies, definitely help.
Yeah, it did. And then I guess the second follow-up question is, once you do make that connection and you hit it off, and like, what do you do, or like, how do you stay in touch and like follow up? Because you don't want to follow up to be like waste their time, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, and relationships come at every level, right? You might have a really good teacher, you really like them, but you're not going to go like ask them to go have beers with you after class.
Yeah.
But there are teachers that you would say, I want to have a beer with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a great, I mean, you know, like I remember I had a photography professor. He went to Tao in Vegas and he told us his trip in Tao, and it was like the coolest place ever. And I was like, all right, I'm going to Vegas. So I go to Vegas and we hang out at a restaurant. I find the best sushi restaurant there. It's like the sushi over in Vegas is so much better than the sushi over here in California. And it's like,
I find that hard to believe because it must be frozen to get to Vegas.
Right. It has to be frozen, but like,
can't be better.
Of course they're trying to get 5 stars over there. And
so, to finish off with you, Henry, real quick, is that what I do is I wait for events that are important to reach back out, right? So not everybody is my friend is what I was trying to get at. You know, there are people that I care about, but there are people that are acquaintances. And so I wait for events for my chance to reach back out. And that's just in LinkedIn. I send cold text messages all the time. You know, I have a friend from high school that he has an aerial photography business, right? He lives in New York. I live in Los Angeles. Like, I don't talk to him every day, but I will reach out and be like, hey bro, like, how's it going? Like, what's new with the family? And we'll talk about that. And that'll be my lead in to be like, how's the business? You know, have you heard about this new pass-through entity tax that allows you to deduct more than $10,000 of tax, you know, and that's my in, right? And that's me building my rapport with my friend so that he knows that I'm a knowledgeable accountant, so that later he can bring me back business. He can bring me his business. Again, like, we're great friends. But he hasn't brought me his business yet because he doesn't trust me as a tax advisor yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When and how, it's all up to the relationship that you have developed with that person, or that, you know, where do you want this relationship? Do you want them to be a drinking buddy? And that's okay. I mean, there are clients that have copious amounts of wine with us. And that's what we do. We drink, we have fun. They know that they can trust us because we're hanging out with them. We take time out of our day and we afford them that chance. So hopefully that answers your question. It really is the accounting word that we love to use. It depends.
Yeah. Dr. Wise?
Yeah, it depends. It always depends.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for presenting us with your story and giving us some advice and pointers. I'm sure everyone found it very useful, and you are a great presenter. Okay, I just wanted to take a quick group picture. So if everyone can turn the cameras on and smile on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all had a great time at the networking workshop, and have a great rest of your Saturdays.
Enjoy the day, guys.
You too. Thank you.